Would be a weather forecaster. No praise when you get it right, and a fig fun when you get it wrong. Trouble is, weather forecasting is a notoriously unreliable business. Philip has been to Australia, where they think they've come up with a high-flying answer.
Here amongst the model aircraft community in Melbourne, the new kid on the block. It makes these model airplanes look like, well, toys. And when it comes to staying power... Excuse me. How long does yours stay up?
Ooh, about 5 minutes.
And, yours, sir?
Oh, about 15.
And how long does yours stay up?
Oh, 3 days.
Huh? Impressive, huh? That's because David here, as champion model aircraft flyer, has been hired test fly Aerosonde. Aerosonde is a robo-supermodel of the skies. More than a model plane, a plane with a brain. Specially designed to fly itself into storms too dangerous for a pilot. Tropical cyclones hit the northern coast of Australia every year. Their paths are extremely unpredictable, which makes life very difficult for the residents there, who can never be sure whether or not they'll be hit.
Sometimes they'll say it's above you, and the next minute it's back out to sea, and then the next minute it's crossed land again, and so it's really hard actually figuring out where it's going to be. As it gets closer and closer, the warnings get more frequent, and then it's just a matter of sitting around waiting.
Why is it so difficult to predict its path?
Good evening, some fine autumn sunshine again across...
Well, all weather forecasts around the globe come from an international shared bank of information, from satellite, radar and monitoring on the ground, and incredibly from these, good old-fashioned balloons which send back temperature, humidity and pressure readings. But these are directed by wind, not the meteorologist. What's needed is something that can go straight into a weather pattern and stay there, sending back continuous data. And that's where Aerosonde comes in. It's the brainchild of Greg Holland, a meteorologist. He and his colleagues took the concept of a military robotic plane and shrank it in size and cost. So how does the flying itself work then?
The aircraft is completely robotic. The way that the system works is that when it's in the air, it has onboard computing, navigation and communication systems. So this, I guess, the pilot, which you see sitting down in here.
And kicking out the pilot means the plane is extremely light, just 15 kilos. It therefore doesn't need much fuel, which is why it can stay up in the air so long, transmitting data from wherever it's been sent, maybe a storm in the remote part of the Pacific Ocean. I hope you forgive me for saying so, but this does look very basic and very fragile.
Fragile it's not. The aircraft is stressed to about 25 times the force of gravity. You would die at about 8 times the force of gravity, so it will withstand pretty well anything that the atmosphere could throw at it in the way of turbulence.
Now you may not have noticed, but this plane has no wheels, which presents a problem. How does it take off? Well, it hitches a lift from a passing Land Rover. Once it's in the air, the plane is completely autonomous. It already knows where it's going because the flight path has been programmed into it via computer. And all you need is a laptop to check up on it. Even if you're in Australia and it's over Hawaii, it knows where it is because the plane has its own global positioning system, which uses satellites to fix its location. It'll also be tracked by air traffic control, so there's no chance of collision with any larger aircraft. And the same laptop receives all the weather information. So exactly how cold and wet is it up there?
Temperature is 6.3, airspeed 22 metres a second. Winds are pretty light, about 2 metres a second out of the southwest.
And when it's finished its mission, it just comes back down to Earth with a bump. The designers think it'll revolutionise weather forecasting, which, let's face it, is something every country needs. Remember this clanger?
Earlier on today, apparently, a woman rang the BBC and said she heard that there was a hurricane on the way. Well, if you're watching, don't worry, there isn't.
The storm that came through the Kew Gardens some time ago, better observations would have certainly helped there. And I guess I'm rather hopeful that you'll improve your forecast for the MCC the next time we come over to beat you in the test.
So, Michael Fish, watch out.
And more news on weather forecasting in next week's special Christmas show, when we find out whether the Met Office's newest and most powerful computer can predict whether it's going to be a white Christmas.